All right, so we're here at the War Store again with a 2,000 point battle report for 6th edition. We got the Crimson Fist Space Marines from Heavy Bolter Joe.
Matt Rendar.
And Matt, you're going to be playing some Tyranids, right? You got some new models built?
Second game with the new list, the new army book.
All right, how'd you do the first game?
I lost, but I had fun. That's all that matters.
No.
All right. Did you play here?
Yep, played right here.
All right, so we have the city terrain again. We love the city terrain. A little shout out to Don Dwyer over there for this is old stuff, right? He's built this a long time ago.
Ah, a couple months ago.
Couple months, yeah. Well, it looks good. We keep coming back for more. And let's introduce the armies.
Alright, this is my Tyranid list. It's about 1995 in points. A lot of monstrous creatures. I'm going to start off with, we got one brood of 3 Carnifexes. We got 1 conversion, 1 old Hive Tyrant stand-in, all with scathing talons, all with regeneration. We got a Tyrannifex with the 20-shot Hive Boar cluster thing. He's got regeneration. We got 1 Tervagon, regeneration. Starting to see a thing go on with the regeneration. A Plain Jane Hive Tyrant, scathing talons, regeneration. Fly Hive Tyrant with regeneration and 2 twin-linked Devourers with the Brain Leech worms. Another Tervagon, regeneration. Scathing Talons, we got the Horror Specs, the new model. He's all painted up, ready to go. He's got regeneration and Crushing Claws. And then 30 Termagants, just plain with the Flesh Borers, and another 30. And the Tervagons are both troop choices. And that is the army.
So tell us about this guy. This is your newest addition.
Yeah, he's the new. Just got him. Definitely like him, man. Just, the way they painted him up, I didn't care for, but with the green and did the slime in the mouth and stuff, he's ready to devour some Crimson Fist. But he's a cool model. I dig him. So.
All right, so we're looking at the Crimson Fist Space Marines, 2,000 points. We have a small strike force here with a lot of veterans. The narrative is that we found out there's some kind of disturbance going on in the inner part of a city. There was some Imperial Guard that were lost, pretty much a platoon. It was wiped out, and only 1 Vendetta was able to get away. So we're going to try to find out what happened to them, see if there are any survivors. We know that it's Tyranids, so we're looking for some bugs. It's a bug hunt. So we got a small mobile strike force. We have some air support. We got the Storm Raven, and it's going to be escorted by a Storm Talon, because we know that when we face these big bugs, there's usually some flying monstrous creatures about. We've learned our lesson, so we're going to see what's in store. We heard about this new flying monstrous creature, this Hive Crones. We don't know if they're around, we'll see. But we know the Hive Tyrants are pretty nasty. So we have an Assault Terminator squad with Thunder Hammers, Storm Shields, led by a Chapter Master, a budding Chapter Master in the Crimson Fist ranks. He's got Artificer Armor. He's got the Relic Blade, and he has an artifact, the Shield Eternal. So we're going to see, this is his first battle. See if he can prove himself out here on against the Tyranids. We got a Land Raider Redeemer with the Multi-Melta, and we have another Assault Squad. This one has pairs of Lightning Claws, and it will be led by Captain Lysander with the Fist of Dorn, and then his shield. So he's going to try to see if he can keep this new budding Chapter Master, give him some direction. He's going to train him up. This is our Warlord. He's a champion of humanity, so if he kills the enemy Warlord in battle, he'll get a D3 extra victory points. That's what we're looking for. Okay, our troops choices to try to secure any objectives that we need to get. I got 3 Razorbacks. They're all identical. 5-man squads with a flamer in each squad. So these are a little tactical redundancy here. Pretty basic 5-man squad in a transport. Looking to roll up and through the city streets, provide some cover fire, secure any objectives. And then we always got the hammer here. The old hammer, Predator Annihilator. Been around since the 90s, this tank. This is an old tank. Served me well on a lot of Rogue Trader adventures and what are those, grand tournaments? Look at all the battle damage this guy's suffered over the years. Okay, we're gonna film deployment here. We got on the right flank, on this objective, I got 2 squads of troops and the Predator, the hammer. Coming over here in the middle, there's an objective right here. We have our 3rd troop looking down this alley. And on the left flank, we put our Captain Lysander with his Terminators looking down this alley. The 3rd objective is in the Tyrannus deployment zone. And you can see what we're trying to go after. There is still one guy on the bottom there that's alive. But look what's coming out of here.
Major Schaefer.
No. Major Schaefer, we're looking for him. He's one of the lone surviving Imperial Guardsmen, or at least somebody that might be still salvageable. Except this guy just bit it. And we have the Storm Raven and Storm Talon Escort are in reserve with the Chapter Master and his Terminators. So this is what we're looking at. And then you got the Tyrannid deployment zone. We got the Tyrannofex on one flank, the Horror-Specs with a Turbogon behind it, and the Turbogon has Dominion.
Keeps his wound, regeneration on him.
Alright, so Matt's rolling his regeneration wounds. We just had a round of shooting. The multi-melter, and we had a rend from the assault cannon. Was able to do 2 wounds to the Carnifex Brood. The hammer over here, my Predator Annihilator, was able to fire on the Horror-Specs. Did 2 wounds, but he regenerated 1 back. So now he's moving him up. And our heavy bolters from here failed to wound because of the cover. But we did get some.
You just roll 2 dice. Ignore.
We got 3 wounds from this on the gaunts over here on this cover.
Moving through cover? Yeah, for these guys.
So we killed 3 gaunts, did 2 wounds on the Carnifexes, did 2 wounds on the Horror-Specs, but he regenerated 1 back. And now these guys are all moving up. Are you going to brood anything?
Of course.
Okay, the movement and shooting phase, we were able to move up and use our Flamestorm cannon to burn and kill 3 gaunts that were in cover. We fired the Machine Spirit with the other weapon at the Carnifexes, but did no wounds. The Heavy Bolter fired here on some gaunts that were in the 5+ cover and killed 1 or 2. The Horror-Specs went down from the combined fire of the Storm Talon with its last cannon and assault cannon, and the Storm Strike missiles, assault cannon, multi-melter. We did 2 wounds and we were able to kill it. One of the missiles missed and the other one didn't wound, so it was up to the other assault cannons to do it. The hammer, the Predator Annihilator, did one wound, the turret hit, and did one wound on the Tyrannosaurus. The Razorbacks reversed, backed up 6 inches, and were able to fire on the gaunts that came out of the Turbogon. We killed, like 5? Yeah. Killed 5 or 6 gaunts. And that was the shooting. The assault, the Terminators came out over here, rolled their distance to come up and assault. There was only 1 hit from the Overwatch, failed to wound. Terminators killed, 10?
Yeah.
We had 10 casualties on the Terminators. There was 1 hit back. We made our save. And this was pretty much not a good combat for either of us. The Carnifexes went first, missed a couple, and then rolled some 1s to wound, right? What, you only got 1 wound when it was all said and done? So 1 wound was saved by the shield. And then Dorn, the Fist of Dorn, missed 3 times. Mastercrafted got to re-roll 1 of them and did 1 wound to a Carnifex. So that combat is still there with all the fearlessness. So now we're going to go on to the bottom of turn 2. We're going to see if Matt's flying Hive Tyrant comes in. But First Blood has gone to the Crimson Fists for killing the Horror Specs. And I guess that's how it always goes, right? The new unit that we don't know about, kill that first, right? So you don't find out what it can do. All right, on to Matt's turn 2. Let's see. You want to get that roll? See if that Hive Tyrant comes in. Yep. Hive Tyrant's coming in. So both forces have all of their forces on the field, and now it's just going to be a slugfest to find out who comes out on top. Alright, so we're at the bottom of turn 2, and what'd you brood, about 6 guys this time?
Yeah, just 6.
Alright, so
a
little low. That was their first brood, which was decent. This one's a little low. This one also had a low brood, right? About 7?
Yep.
And so it balances out. We had good and bad. The shooting. What was the result of shooting? We had the Psychic Scream.
Yep.
Targeted these guys, but we were able to have our leadership be more than what you rolled on the dice. Same thing with Lysander, right? He was able to survive the the Psychic Scream. And there was also paroxysm.
He only took 1 wound, or no?
He made a save. From
it's
this
the leadership, the green thing. All right, cool.
That leadership is the paroxysm that knocked him down to weapon skill 4. So he was paroxysm, and he lost 2 weapon skill and ballistic skill points. But in hand-to-hand combat, he was able to do two wounds, which killed 1 Carnifex and wounded a second one. And then he took 6 wounds, but saved all of them, but 1. So he's wounded. Lysander took 1 wound in that combat. Killed the Carnifex, took 1 wound. Everything's fearless, so everything's locked in combat. The Tyrannosaurus ran up here, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on this part of the board. But everything's on the board now. The swarm around the one objective has got that one pretty much locked up. This one's open, and this one is now open because we backed off. So we're going to top of turn 3. Alright, we had shooting. The shooting phase for the Space Marines, we targeted the Hive Tyrant with the Storm Raven and the Storm Talon. We were able to bring that down. It was already wounded, so we did enough wounds to take down the Hive Tyrant. We shot the Flame Storm Cannon at some gaunts, burned a few of them. The assault over here with the Terminators saw the gaunts get wiped out from the shred of the Lightning Claws. The Terminators came out and did a disordered charge against Carnifexes and also gaunts. And the Chapter Master came out on the other side and he charged gaunts. We were able to do multiple wounds, so knocked that squad down a little bit. We killed 1 Carnifex in combat with with Lysander, and that's how it stands after 3 turns. So.
Are you putting that on something?
Alright, so, the first thing happened is that this guy was at a synapse race, so what did he do? He had to burrow? Alright, so he burrowed. Unfortunately, his guns can't do any damage, even with snap shooting, so he just stayed where he was. In the middle here, we had a big combat. The Hive Tyrant that was flying was able to come in. All in all, 3 Terminators were killed from Hive Tyrant, Carnifex, and Turbogon from all these attacks. And a lot of Gaunts were killed. Chapter Master is involved in the combat. Had some fresh guys attack from the side here. And the Carnifex over here took 2 wounds. Lysander took an additional wound, and the Chapter Master took a wound. So everything in here, except for the Hive Tyrant, has taken wounds from this combat. And over here we had, what do you have? Some Termagants assaulted these Terminators, and they were able to wipe them out and then consolidate over this area. So we have a big fight in the middle like we expected, and it's getting pretty bloody. Over here, this Turbogon is just brooding and brooding. It's still able to make more Gaunts, so this whole objective here is pretty much getting overrun with. Probably not. Alright, we saw the shooting and assault. We killed the Horospecs with the Predator. We shot a couple of Gaunts in the cover from the 360-degree arc on the assault cannon from the Storm Talon, some heavy bolter fire. The squad that got out over here was able to flame down the Gaunts that were coming up this direction. And then we have the assault. So the Lightning Clawed Terminators killed some Gaunts and also killed the Carnifex. Lysander finished off the remaining 2 Gaunts that he was in base contact with.
Too heavy to steal.
The Hive Tyrant did not do a wound, rolled 2 1s for his wounds. The Chapter Master took a wound from Gaunts, but killed a few in back. And so we're down to a Turbogon that's wounded, a Hive Tyrant with a wound, 2 Terminators, the Chapter Master, and Lysander with these Terminators left in the middle of the field. Plus, the Turbogons still be able to brood on that objective. So we're at the bottom of turn 4, Tyranids response. Alright, we had a lot of carnage going on through here. The Turbogon fell to the Lightning Clawed Terminators, which consolidated in and got attacks on it. The Gaunts were beaten up by the Chapter Master, and then when the Turbogon was killed by Lysander, he did a lot of wounds on the remaining Turbogants, and they all died. So Turbogon is gone, Termagants are gone from the resulting loss of the Broodmother. The Paroxysm hit my 2 Terminators with the hammers, so they were only hitting on 5s. They missed, or they did 1 wound on the Hive Tyrant. But again, the Hive Tyrant, bad rolling in combat, missed, only got 1 wound. We made the save with the Storm Shields. So the Storm Shields have really done a lot for us, and the Terminator Armor has enabled us to stick through this combat. We're going to the top of turn 5, could be the last turn. Termagants have that objective. It's possible that we can get these 2 objectives, and we'll see how the combat goes in the middle. Top of turn 5. Okay, the fight in the middle of the field here saw the Hive Tyrant finally fall to the Terminators. The Emperor has been blessed here. We got a lot of Terminator armor saves. What did we lose? 3 guys?
Yeah, 3 guys so far.
3 guys. So all those
3 wounds,
shots and wounds and monstrous creatures and all the other stuff. So the Emperor was shining upon us today. And we're at the bottom of 5. We're going to see if Matt wants to do any more movement. He'll make his moves, do his shooting, and then we'll see if this turn will end. But the field has been cleared out in the middle. It's just this overrun objective here with the Turbogon in the backfield. So the game ended on at the end of turn 5. So the Tyranids had this objective right here in the middle. The Turbogon came around, it had done its last brood, and the Terminators cleared out what was in the middle of the field. So this squad was able to control this objective here. The other tactical squad got out and was able to control this second objective. and the Crimson Fist had First Blood, Slay the Warlord, and the Line Breaker. So it was a lopsided, victory in the end. It was really good up to the third turn, and then
It went big.
too many ones from Matt in hand-to-hand combat, and the Terminators they were relentless with their saves. They just kept saving their storm shields. They're starting to generate a reputation for it. My son Connor, when he plays me, he doesn't like fighting against the Terminator guys with the hammers either. But luckily for everybody, I only have 8 of them, so 5 played today. We had the Lightning Claws. They didn't do bad either. The Lightning Claws did their job. They were supposed to take out the little guys. They actually helped out on the big ones too. But yeah, all those we got. AP3 does a lot of damage. This it's a small compact strike force, but was able to do enough damage against the Tyranids and get enough luck from the Emperor to follow through and get the victories today. So another battle report in the books at the War Store in Riverhead.